This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so good morning, guys. So let me try to start today's session. Now, before that, I would just wanted to give a recap of what all things I was trying to discuss in our last class, and from there we try to take it and we try to continue. So yesterday I was trying to basically explain that whenever you try to work on SAP application, you're going to be having two screens to focus. One, we try to call it as a front-end application, and second, we name it as backend application. So backend is going to be totally under the control of consultants, where we try to build the application completely from start to end. Whereas SAP consultants only will be given access to work on it. Whereas when we talk about end users, they work on the front end application, recording master data, transaction data. What exactly your end user is going to be doing in the real time? He will be maintaining master data. He will be recording transaction data. And third, they try to run the reports. Apart from these three activities, they don't do any other activity in the real time. Okay. And if end user need to perform all these things in a smooth way, consultant is the one who will be building the application. And I was trying to explain what exactly is going to be the consultant job role. When we work in any of the project, we are going to be acting as an analyst, configurator, and as a tester. Now, you are going to be the people who will be responsible to interact with the business and collect the requirements. Why company want to use SAP application? Once you collect that particular data, based on that, you're going to be developing the application. Once you develop the application, we also work out with the testing process. These three activities is what as a consultant we try to do it up. And I was trying to mention that how you're going to be logging into SAP as well yesterday. We were trying to discuss some information related to the system navigation and how you're going to be working on it. So in the real time, any project you are going to be working, you will be given access to work with these three servers: development, quality, production. Any project, let it be part of implementation or the support environment or the rollout project, you're going to be having three servers. Development server, we build the application. Quality server, user training and UAT is going to be performed. In case if you don't know UAT, which stands for user acceptance testing. So business is going to be performing the testing, and on the production server, it is going to be the live transactions which are going to be getting recorded. And to log into SAP, I was trying to explain, we need to make sure this logon path need to be installed. And when you double click on it, the servers on which you try to work, that particular server details are going to be shown up. You need to select the server, click on enter, and this will be taking us to the welcome screen of SAP where we try to log in. Okay. Now, every one of you will be having your own username and password to log into the application. Try to maintain all that information, and you can select the language as well. Try to click on enter. This is how the screen is going to be looking. We name this particular screen as easy access screen, which will be under the control of only end users. Okay, so no consultants will be given access to work on this particular page anytime. We try to work in the backend. For that, we try to run a transaction code called as SPRO. Then we try to click on this particular icon, SAP reference IMG. And when you hit on it, this takes us to the backend. And the backend screen name, display IMG, where as a consultant, we try to build the application. And you're going to be working as a part of sales and distribution module over here. So every consultant is having a specific place to work. Okay. And this is how you try to work on application. Now, as I mentioned, we are trying to work on S4HANA. When we try to deal with S4HANA, you're going to be having two front-end applications available for the user to work. One is the traditional method of logging into SAP. Second is going to be the web version. Okay, and this is how the web version is going to be looking. Just give me a minute. So this is how the web version is going to be looking. So again, whatever username you try to put down in your SAP GUI, you will be having the same credentials. So put down that particular credentials, click on log on, and this is going to be the new front end which has been provided by SAP. Now, what is the difference you're going to be finding? It has been totally designed based on app specific. Again, you're going to be having three types of apps to work. One, transaction apps. Second, master data apps. And third, analytics apps. Now, I have different apps to perform different activities. And by using this particular user interface, no need for the users to remember the T codes. Shortcut to navigate to a particular screen. When you're working on SAP GUI, user need to remember the transaction codes. Now, for example, we have a transaction code called as VA01, which will be used for creation of sales order. Then we have a transaction code called as VL01N for delivery document. We have one more transaction code BF01 for billing document. For maintenance of pricing related data, VK11. Like this, we have different transaction codes to navigate to a different page. Whereas when you try to work out with this particular user interface, we don't have transaction codes. Everything is going to be loaded with the help of apps. Now you can see we have an app for creation of sales order. You can click on it. That particular app is going to be getting loaded up, and you can go for recording of the transaction over here itself. Okay, and if you want to work out with the reports, same app will be having all that particular information maintained. Whatever data you try to save on Fiori will be updated in your GUI. Whatever data you put in the GUI will be updated up in the Fiori. It's going to be totally connected. And who will be maintaining all this particular connection? The basis. Basis team will be responsible for that. So in this particular training program, we are going to be recording the transaction using GUI as well as Fiori. And remember, this particular thing has been purely designed for front-end operations, not for the back. In Fiori, as a consultant, if you want to develop anything, you don't have authorizations to work. Okay. And second thing, this particular screen is going to be totally customizable. Now, for a particular user, you don't want to give access for creating an order. This app can be removed. User specific which apps or which transaction authorizations you want to provide, we can put that limitation. Okay. Now, when you try to work out with this GUI, we don't have that. Yes, we have it. But here we need to take the help of basis. Here, when you work on the Fiori as a functional consultant, I can do that. That is the difference you're going to be observing it. Simplifications has been provided more when you work on the Fiori. And here, for example, if I try to open this one, sales order fulfillment app, here you will be having access to work with your flowcharts. Okay. So you have your data comparison things put down. If you want to check out everything, any issues related to any particular order, we have all that particular things getting displayed. So here you can see there is one order for which delivery issues in the order. So there are some corrections which need to be done. This particular transaction has been not posted to the finance account. You're going to be having different issues. You can check that issue and you can resolve all that particular issues from here itself. But in GUI, you need to open each and everything and you need to work it out. That is the difference. Working on new user interface is going to be much easy when compared to GUI. So real-time data. Here you can see the entire information. So how many orders has been created, how many orders has been not posted to the delivery, or orders has been posted but we have not received the payment, which document has been not passed to the finance department. We have all that particular analysis done and it will be shown up practically. Okay. So this is going to be more user friendly for your end user for running the transaction. It will be helping the managers to check out the real-time data, to check the progress. Reports can be executed with much faster pace. Okay. So no need for your manager, vice presidents, presidents to carry always laptop with them. All these things are going to be running on a tab on a mobile. So they can check everything on a mobile itself. So we are going to be playing with this particular Fiori applications as well. How to load the apps, how to record the transaction as well, and user specific what kind of authorizations will be maintained. Three different things we are going to be learning it up. Now, apart from this, and I was trying to mention yesterday how to check out the properties. Always make sure you try to click on system, status, and you are going to be finding product versions. On which version you're trying to work, you will be having all that particular information available. So right now I'm working on this particular one, SAP S4HANA 2022 release. Okay. So we have different releases. So this is the release on which we are going to be working. And if you want to exit from SAP application, we try to use a shortcut called as /NEX. You can click on it and we will be exited from that particular GUI. And if you want to log out from your Fiori, we have an option over here, sign out. So if you want to customize this particular page, you can also do that. If you want to change the color, you want to change the themes, everything can be done. Okay. So as of now, I'm just trying to log out from this particular page as well. Now, there is one more thing. This is another server, which we call it as ECC. This is S4HANA server. This is ECC server. ECC is the old version of SAP. S4HANA is a new version. Going ahead, all companies will be using S4HANA itself. Now, if you try to work out with old system, ECC application, you're going to be finding the same screen, no change. Here also, I need to enter my username, password, and try to log in. So here we have this particular page, easy access screen, which will be under the control of end users. As a consultant, if you want to work, try to execute transaction code SPRO, click on SAP reference IMG, there's your backend. And the backend screen name, display IMG screen itself. So no changes in the front end and the back end. Now, if I want to use Fiori using ECC, not possible. Fiori will be applicable only for S4HANA, not for ECC. And if you want to check out the system properties, click on system, status, try to click on details icon over here, install product version, and you're going to be finding the name of the application over here. This is the one. ERP 6.0 EHP 7. So 6.0 is the version number in ECC. where this ECC stands for Enterprise Central Component. And 6.0 is the version number. Before 6.0, we have number of older versions. So 5.0, 4.7, 4.0, but they have been outdated. In ECC, this is the latest version what we have it. And after 6.0, we don't have any new release from SAP. If they want to come, okay, it's not they want to come, they came out with new improved features. For that, they release EHP packs, where this EHP stands for Enhancement Pack. Okay, this is how the screens are going to be looking when you're working on ECC. And you can see the database. Whatever data we try to store in SAP when you work on ECC, we are using a database called as SQL. This is not a product of SAP. Yep. Mm. Okay. Right. Hmm. Now we need to do that updation. Again, it's going to be data migration activities which will be done. So you need to move the data from older to the new one. So in case if they are trying to use ECC 6.0 and SAP came out with new enhancements in 6.0 version, no need to do any kind of updation. By installing that particular patch, new features will be enabled. If you're upgrading from 5.0 version to 6.0 version, then data need to be moved. Yeah, there will be packages which need to be installed and you need to work out with the data migration. Everything need to be taken care. EHP 7. So that is enhancement pack. So that is nothing but patch. So normally when we try to install your software, we get some patches, right? So that is what we call it as enhancement pack over here. The prerequisite checks system readiness will be handled by the basis. First, they try to make sure all the connectors are going to be established. Then we are going to be checking out whether the system readiness is good or not. They do that particular analysis and we try to prepare all the templates accordingly. Because what is happening when you're trying to migrate the data from ECC to S4HANA, we as a functional consultant will be not designing any kind of templates for data movement. SAP has provided a default templates. We use that default templates and we try to customize it and we try to move the data. That's how it's going to be done. Yeah, exactly. It's going to be chargeable. Nothing is going to be done for free. So SAP is going to be charging everything. Yeah, because they don't want to use the new features. They're still happy with the older version. They were able to map the business. They're good with that. But that is what happens. Now, if your application, now SAP is coming out with new features, 100% SAP is going to be stopping support for the old version going ahead. Yeah, same thing. Now, going ahead, 100% SAP will be stopped providing the support. And we got a deadline like 2027. So that SAP is giving a thought of extension because like people are not willing to upgrade their particular software. So SAP is giving some more extension for all the companies to migrate to S4HANA. So exactly, a lot of data migrations, brownfield implementations are going to be taken care. So sometimes what happens if company had decided not to go for upgradation, straight away they want to use S4HANA directly. Then we try to call it as a greenfield. Where instead of moving the data, we try to newly develop the application once again. Brownfield means upgradation. If you're trying to move the data from ECC to S4HANA, we call it as brownfield implementation. Greenfield means totally new, totally fresh. Brownfield. System conversions is what we call it as. Okay, now going ahead over here. Now in today's session, when we try to talk about this particular sales, so how exactly the things are going to be working out. Now, in sales and distribution, what exactly we are going to be performing it? We are going to be doing two things. One, not two things, couple of things. First, we try to check how to go for recording of master data. That's going to be the first concept. If you try to maintain all master data, for example, what you mean by this? How to create a customer record, how to create a material record, how to create a vendor record, pricing conditions. We try to check how to record this master data. If you try to record this particular master data, we can go for recording of transaction data. So we are going to be learning how sales orders are going to be created, how delivery documents are going to be created. So because whenever you try to send the stock out of the company need to provide a delivery challan where we try to put down what products has been shipped to which customer. So how we are going to be creating this particular delivery document. Along with that, we try to go for creation of our billing document. We need to raise an invoice, we need to print that invoice, and we need to send that invoice with our stock. Apart from this, we try to learn how to record incoming payments. This is what we try to focus as part of transaction data. Now, if you want to perform these two activities, this is what your end user is going to be performing in the real time. And this is going to be performed on front-end application, not on the back-end. Please remember, end users will be given access to work on SAP Easy Access, and they will be having access to work with Fiori user interface. This is the place where they are going to be performing these two activities. And third, as I mentioned earlier, they will be running the reports as well. Now, if end user need to perform these three roles in a project in the real time, we try to check what kind of developments need to be done in the backend. So there are going to be lot of things we try to focus on the backend. We build the SAP SD application to record transactions. This is going to be what, as a consultant, we try to do. We prepare the system. Okay. Here, there are going to be two things you are going to be performing. We try to work out with configurations. Configurations is nothing but we try to use standard SAP solution provided. Whatever solution SAP has provided, we try to check that solution, we use that solution, we build the application. Second, we name it as customizations. Customizations, we develop the solution. Now, why we need to develop the solution? Because we don't have a standard solution available, we are going to be developing the solution. Now, if I need to develop a solution, do I have any knowledge on coding? Do we need to have any knowledge on coding to write a code, how to develop the screens. As a functional consultant, that is not required, and that is what I was trying to keep my points in my first class as well. Where is that gone? You're going to be acting as functional, no coding at all. Then who will be writing that? ABAP. So in any project you try to work, there will be customizations which will be done, because SAP may not be providing a solution for the entire business process. You need to develop the solutions. How exactly the interaction is going to be done in the real time. Client, or we name it as business, is going to be sharing all the information to the functional consultants. You're going to be acting as a functional consultant. You need to get into the client place. You need to study the business. You need to collect the data. That is what you're going to be doing it up. And you're going to be checking we have any solution available or not. If solution is there, use it. If solution is not available, then you are the person who need to update that requirement to the ABAP. ABAP cannot communicate directly with the business because he's a technical guy. He know how to write a code. He don't understand anything related to sales, inventory, finance, nothing. He know how to write a code. He know how to design the screens. That is the reason your pay scale is going to be very high when compared to a technical consultant. Yeah, so as a functional consultant, that is what we do. We are going to be acting as an SAP analyst for collecting the requirement. Exactly. As an SD consultant, you're going to be collecting SD requirements. So finance team will be collecting finance requirement. Team will be collecting requirements. Yeah. Analyst is going to be a part of your functional consultant job role. Okay, that is what we try to map it. It's going to be part of functional consultant job role. So second, as I mentioned, we act as a configurator. And third, we act as a tester. So what we do, we collect the data, we build the system. Once you build the system, we try to perform the testing. In case if there is no standard solution, we pass it to the BAP. Your pay is going to be very high because of these three job roles we are going to be performing it. Okay. So if you are trying to put down as a 3 to 4 years of work experience, right now the pay is around 12 to 14 what they pay in big companies. So there is a lot of scope. As a functional consultant, we try to work it out. And as I mentioned, we do all this from backend screen display IMG. This is what we do: configurations and customization. You open any kind of job description JDs, they will be looking for the consultant who is having good knowledge with the configurations and customizations. And you need to know what all standard solutions are available in SAP. So we have building blocks, we call it as. We need to refer this particular building blocks to know whatever standard solution SAP has provided. Okay. So this is a place where you're going to be checking it. We check and we come to know. Yeah, it's going to be a library itself. So what solution SAP has deployed to map a business process, step-by-step process with the flow charts, it will be providing us. You can check it in the Google. You can have a find SAP building blocks. You can get into that and you can check out that. And this is how your flow diagrams are going to be looking as well. Sorry, I've deleted that. In my current projects, I can show you. So these are all the templates what you're going to be finding it from SAP itself. So how exactly the process is going to be required, you're going to be having this particular thing. Sales flow. So how the process is going to be executed, how process is going to be closed, what all steps you need to perform, everything is going to be provided. We can download this particular thing from SAP. We can give presentation to the client. We can explain the business process, what is the first step, what is the last step, and which user is going to be performing what role. So if you want to maintain separate authorization, user specific, we can do that. So sales administrator will be having the access for recording an order. Shipping specialist will be having the access of creating a delivery, issuing the products. Biller will be having the access of creating an invoice. So this is what we call it as user authorization. To which user, which transaction authorizations need to be provided, we can put that limitations. Okay. And there is going to be a lot of business process we try to work on the application level. So this is one business process. So like this, we are going to be having different process. We need to map it. And that is what we are going to be looking and learning as well. We are going to be understanding fourth, business process and business scenarios. We are going to be learning number of business process, business scenarios. That is nothing but cycles. We can call it as sales cycles. Like how we are going to be working out with ODC, or people call it as O2C, which is nothing but order to cash. We try to work out with sample sales, returns process, then how to work out with the credit notes, debit notes, third party sales, IPO process, which we call it as individual purchase order. Or heard about these things? MTO, make to order. Once you get a requirement from the customer, then only my production will be done. Custom objects. Yeah, it's totally make to order. Once you get a order, then only my build will be done. We have one more cycle, MTS, make to stock. Make to stock means we manufacture the product and keep it ready for sale. So we will be working with such kind of business process. These are all going to be examples of your business process. We have scenarios, like we have the concept of listing and exclusion, cross-selling, material determination. We work with batch management, route, packing. Then we have free goods, revenue account determination. These are all going to be some examples of business scenarios we try to get trained on. And who will be performing all these things? End user. If end user need to run this particular cycles, how you build the application from the backend. That is what we try to focus. Backend, frontend. We build the system, we check whether output is coming or not. At the same time, we try to work out with the fifth one, integration skill set is what we try to call it at. If you want to run any of these particular cycles, sales cannot work independently. There is a lot of things you require from different modules, like how sales is going to be working with MM, with FICO, with production, with LE, SD integration with ABAP, and SD integration with basis. all this particular skill set, how much knowledge is required, we try to gain that. That is going to be making you a complete SD consultant with proper skill set. And that is what they try to check out in the interview. How good are you with building the application to map all these particular cycles and scenarios? If you have that particular skill set available, you can crack any particular interview. And apart from that, in the real time, no need to depend on any other person. No job support. No need to get any kind of job support from other people to complete your task. You can do your activities individually. Okay. No need for the proxy. You can clear your interviews. You can able to crack each and everything. Okay. So here now, what is the trend? A lot of people are looking for proxies. Lot of people are looking for job support, where they try to rip you off. Almost they take 70% of your pay, and they do your work. So instead of that, you gain the skill, you work, you will be having good knowledge, you will be having good growth as well. Okay. So to build this particular thing, we have different chapters we need to build in the application. Like first and the foremost thing we try to work out is going to be enterprise structure. This is the first chapter, or we try to call it as organizational structure. Before you run any particular transaction, let it be master data or transaction data, we need to make sure the company org structure is going to be fully developed. And this org structure is going to be made up of different organizational units. And we have a definition for each and every organizational unit. We need to learn and we need to check how to build that into SAP. That is going to be the primary job role in any of the implementation project we try to do it. So we try to learn how we are going to be calling a particular term in domain terminology. This is nothing but layman terminology. In our day-to-day use, how we are going to be representing it and how we try to represent in SAP. Now, why I'm trying to talk about these two in SAP, each functionality has been mapped in a different way because we have translated the entire application from German to English. SAP is a German-based software company, not a US-based, and the entire application has been developed in German language. From German, it has been translated to English, so the naming conventions has been changed, but the definition remains the same. Okay, that is what we need to understand how we are going to be representing a particular term in SAP and how it works out. So here the first term we try to deal with is going to be company or business. For which company you're trying to implement SAP, the same thing we need to put it over here. We don't have any change in the naming convention, it's the same name. Now, there are manufacturing companies which are using it, trading companies which is using it, and we have service oriented companies which are using SAP application. How we are going to be calling it in SAP means we call it as company itself. There is no other name. We don't call it as a business. We don't call it as a client. In SAP terms, we call it as a company. Now, what is the role of this particular company? They invest money to use SAP software. Okay, so they try to allocate budget, allocation of budget for SAP implementation. So how much amount a company can spend to use this SAP software? Whether they can spend 100 CR, 200 CR, only 10 CR, only 1 CR, client is going to be giving us that budget. According to that, if you're good enough to build the application, you can. Normally, the cost of an implementation project is going to be varied based on the complexity. How big is the project? How many models we need to implement it? And what is the criticality of that particular business? And that budget fixing will be done by the delivery manager, topmost cadre, who is having almost an experience of 18 years. He will be good with multiple models, so he can come out with the budget calculations. So company will be spending the money to use SAP application, and they are going to be the highest level in enterprise structure because they take care of all the decision maker. At the middle of the project as well, if they don't like SAP, they can go for scrapping it. It's totally your company who will be doing that activity. And this company creation in SAP is going to be handled by FI consultant. It's not going to be sales team who will be creating this company in the real time. You're going to be finding FI consultant who will be defining it. Now, I'm trying to take an example. We have a Tata over here. Tata, we call it as a company, and they try to run multiple business. So some of the well-known business, Tata Motors, Tata Steel, they are into retail sector. They are into hotels, Air India. Then we have insurance, construction field. They are into software, TCS. Now, how many business like this Tata is running? Multiple. Now, each business of a company, we try to map it on the term company code. Okay. Now, for which line of business Tata want to use SAP? For that business only, we are going to be developing the software. If they want to use SAP for hotel sector, we develop the software for hotels. If they want to use it for steel, we develop software for steel. Clear? So each line of business, we try to map it as a company code. Reason for that, investment on each and every business will be different. Revenue generation will be different. Loss, profit will be different. Operations are going to be different. They have their own sales team to run the business. So each business, we map it as a company code. Remember that. Now, if I'm not having multiple business, then I have only one business. I don't have such thing. Then can I need to create a company code? Yes, I need to create it. So for example, if you try to take Samsung. Now Samsung is only one company which is trying to run a business related to electronic goods. But they run the business in how many locations? Multiple locations. They run the business in India, in UK, in USA, in China, in Korea. At different geographical locations, they try to run the business. Now, currency of transaction is same? No. Your financial year? No. Profit and loss will be same. Product sold is same. So based on that as well, you can go for creation of a company code. It's not that only if you have different line of business, you can create it as a company code. Based on the geographical locations where they work, we can create it as a company code. Now, third approach. Now, for example, we have a company. Patanjali is a company. Now, they run the business across the globe or only in India? They run the business in India, but they export the product to abroad. Okay. Patanjali, we try to call it as a company. Patanjali itself, I'm going to be creating it as a company code. Okay. Company code, company is going to be mandatory in SAP. And who will be creating it? Again, your FI consultants will be taking care of it. So This company code is going to be the highest level in financial accounting. You're going to be having each organizational unit which will be addressed as highest level in each and every module. So company, overall level, company code in the finance. And whatever transactions you try to record it, let it be related to incoming payments, outgoing payments will be getting updated with reference to your company code. So they keep a track of all the payments. That is what we try to call it as account receivables and account payables. If they keep a track of all the payments, balance sheet can be prepared, which will be providing profit and loss statement in a financial year, whether the company is in profit or loss. Clear? That will be handled by your finance. Chart of accounts will be created by the finance. GL accounts will be created by the finance at the company code level itself. So this is what your finance team will be taking care of it. Now, what exactly sales team will be doing then? Now, let's say if Samsung want to sell their products, if Patanjali want to sell their product, they have a sales department. That is what we try to map it. So if they want to sell any particular product, company will be having sales departments. This sales department is what? In SAP terms, we name it as sales organization. We don't call it as sales department, we name it as sales organization. And this sales organization is going to be the highest level in SD module. And what activities the sales org will be doing? It is going to be responsible for selling. Apart from selling, we try to take care of promotions. If you want to promote any particular product, launch activities, that will be handled by sales. And apart from that, post-sale activities. After sales, if customer is having any complaints, we deal with that particular post-sales. And logistics. We need to make sure the product is going to be delivered to the customer on time. So that is what the sales org is going to be handling it. We play different roles. And who will be responsible for this? SD consultants will be creating this particular sales organization. That is part now. CRM is part of sales itself. So that is the reason we have in CRM as well, sales org is going to be created. We map everything under sales org itself. Yeah, pre-sales. So we try to deal with inquiry and quotation, not promotion activities. So promotion will be handled by your CRM. Now, how many sales organizations I can have for a particular business? We can have multiple sales organization. Now, who will be deciding this? For a particular business, you required only one sales org, or you require two sales organization or multiple sales organization. Who will be deciding it? Business don't know SAP, right? They don't understand this particular term itself. Now, who need to decide it? So that is what we are going to be doing it up. As a consultant, you need to suggest the business how many sales orgs are required to map their particular business. Okay. Now, typical process what we follow in the industry, we are going to be having one sales org which will be taking care of domestic sales across India. Second, in case if you are trying to do exports, one sales org will be taking care of foreign trade. This is one solution what we try to put down. If business doesn't want to perform in this particular way, then based on zone specific, we try to map it. North will be handled by one sales org, south, west, east. We try to divide in this particular way. If they are not happy with this particular thing as well, they feel it very complex, North, what regions need to be come down. South, what regions need to be done. So if they feel a little bit complex, then we have third approach, state specific. Each state will be having one sales org, which will be handling the sales in that particular geographical location. You need to study the entire business. You need to know what exactly they want, and accordingly, you need to suggest whether the business required one sales org or multiple sales organization. And what kind of activities will be done? This is what we try to do. Clear? This is what you need to handle in a project. Now, if I need to perform sales, every company will be having their customers. Without customers, can I sell the product? So every company will be having a customers, and they will be called as channel partners. Now, what we do, we are going to be dividing that customers into groups. One set of people, we name them as dealers, distributors, we have wholesalers, retailer, bulk buyer. Then you're going to be having institutional sales. Okay. Now, why we need to categorize them into so many groups? For all the customers, selling price will be same. Discounts, payment terms, no, right? Everything need to be changed accordingly. That is the reason we are going to be categorizing them. So company channel partners, we are going to be calling them as distribution channel in SAP. So this is nothing but channel through which saleable material reaches the customer. This is the definition what SAP has provided for the term distribution channel. The reason why you need to categorize a customer, because all customers will be not placing an order for the same quantity. Delivery terms will be different, payment terms will be different, credit terms also will be different. That is the reason each group, each set of people, we name it as distribution channel. That is what you need to study as well. And this classification will be handled by SD consultants. That is what we try to do. Now, we came to know two terms. Company will be having a sales org. They sell the products. To whom? To the customer. Now, what kind of products we try to sell? Different types of materials. You need to know what all products company is going to be offering it to the customer. Product lines. Now, if you try to take an example of a Samsung, easy to work, they have different product lines. TV and AV, they have mobiles, they have home appliances, they have washing machines, refrigerators, air conditioners. Like this, they have different product lines. This product line is what in SAP terms we name it as division over here. Okay, this is what we try to call it as group of collection of products. We name it as divisions. So instead of calling it as product lines, each product line we are going to be calling it as a division. Now, again, if you try to take TV, in TV you're going to be having different categories once again. Yeah, you have a LED technology, OLED technology, smart TVs. We have different segments in that. Each segment need to be also mapped. For that, we are going to be using a term called as material groups. So TV will be called as what? As a division. And these we try to call it as material groups. So this material groups is going to be subdivision of division. This is the definition of it. If you have division, we are going to be further dividing that division into groups. Where exactly you're going to be using these groups for the pricing? If company want to come out with some kind of promotions, so if you buy smart TVs, I'm going to be offering 15% discount. Any smart TV. If you're buying LED technology TV, I'm going to be offering 20% discount. So there we try to take the help of this particular material groups and we try to map the functionality. In real time, this material groups and division are going to be created by not by sales. They try to create it. They create it, we use it. Okay. So you need to know each consultant will be performing different roles. It's not that only one person will be developing entire application. Who will be doing what kind of job role in a project, you need to have that knowledge. Without this, if you want to run any of the sales cycles, what I've explained, it is not going to be possible at all. And that is what we are going to be focusing on in the next class. We try to work out with the definitions. We understand what these terms represent. And practically, we are going to be working on the system as well for the development. Okay. So this is what I wanted to do it up, where I've given the introduction, how to work out with the theory. Not completely. We try to play with that as we go on recording the transactions. And what exactly we try to do as part of SD, I was trying to deploy that. And we try to focus in these three areas: analyst, configurator, and a tester. And we are going to be learning these things, entire structure. Because open any JD, you're going to be finding you need to have hands-on experience working in these particular areas. We gain that particular knowledge and we try to build the system from start to end. Once I'm done with this, you will be given a case study where I act as a client, you act as a consultant. I give you the requirements and you need to come out with a solution for that. You need to prepare the system, you need to design the system, and you need to show me the output of it. So that's how it is going to be done. So in this 2 course training, I'm going to be giving you a lot of assignments which you need to work. What are the possible ways of mapping it? If you don't have one way, what is the second way? You need to come out with that. That is the approach they look in the interview. They don't look for the output. They check what is the way you're coming out for that output. So that is what we try to focus as well. We learn outputs, we build the system accordingly. Okay. So I'm just trying to stop it over here for now. We meet up tomorrow and we try to work with these things. Thank you guys.